Hi, everybody. My name is Lynn Drake. I'm president and founder of Compass Commercial. We will help businesses find office and industrial real estate. And this afternoon, I'm talking with Betsy Hobbs Wagner. How are you, Betsy?
Doing great. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Happy to have you. Betsy is with Hobbs and Black Architecture Firm, and they have 3 offices, a couple in Michigan and one in Arizona. Her undergraduate degree is from Kalamazoo College, and then she went to the Harrison College of Design, has a degree in design, and she works right now as the vice president of business development for them. So thanks for being here today.
Thanks for having me. Excited to be here for sure.
Good. Okay, so we're going to be talking about architecture, which is really fundamental to commercial real estate, to say the least. So I'm going to start off the questions, Betsy, and let's see where we go from there.
Sounds good.
So why don't you share with us when is the appropriate time to bring an architect into a transaction?
You know, as I was talking to some of my colleagues and we were discussing this, I think when the owner knows that they have a viable project in terms of they've done a little bit of preliminary research, they've done some initial strategic planning, and they understand what their budget is the area that you're building in, does it make sense to build there? Do you have the demographics to service your project? You know, a lot of those preliminary things kind of need to be set first, but those are things also that architects can help with. You know, there are a lot of strategic planners and we know a lot of people. So if you're just at the very initial stages, we can help connect you to some of the right people that can help put like a real program together for you, like financially and looking at those types of aspects.
Yeah, I was wondering about that, particularly today is
and when I say strategic planning, I'm thinking financials too. And there's a lot of good people that do that.
Right. I wanted to say today is July 29th of 2021, and the cost of goods to build buildings have been through the roof. What have you guys been seeing people doing about this? Are they just halting construction?
We are seeing a lot of projects pausing, and there's been a couple major things that are happening right now. Obviously, the cost of lumber, it's starting to come down a little bit, but it's still very high. That has put some projects on hold. People are kind of waiting until these numbers drop a little bit. The other thing is just the shortage of trades. You know, a lot of contractors too are waiting to bid projects until the fall to hopefully get more people that can actually do the work, and hopefully the numbers start coming down a little bit. So yeah, that is definitely a trend we have seen.
I was listening to an SIOR conference the other day, and they were talking about the cost, and they said it's starting to come down a year and a half before it comes down to something feasible. I guess is the word. I don't know if you've heard any dates, but
yes, I think it's something we're going to be struggling with for the next few months for sure. But a lot of people still are deciding to move forward. There's a lot of clients that have needs that need to, they need to start planning, and now's the time. So when they can bid it, it's ready to go. So that's good for architects because it makes a lot of sense to start planning now.
Well, it makes perfect sense. Okay, so what are some of the preliminary processes architects typically get involved with?
So really depending on what the project is, we work in a variety of different markets and market types. But, I had mentioned strategic planning. We can help facilitate that and get people on board to look at numbers if you have a project that's just getting started. Another area is a lot of times, the client knows they want to build, they're starting to look for sites. We can do a quick site analysis. So how does your building fit on a site?
Mhm.
Are there wetlands? What are some of the things you might contend with when you um, didn't realize it when you're looking at, do I want to purchase this site or not? We're happy to do some of those quick services to help you decide whether or not this is a good site for you. Um, Also, with existing buildings, we do a lot of facility assessments and we'll team up. We have great engineering partners.
Mhm.
But if someone's looking at an existing building, is there any remediation that needs to be involved? What does the roof look like? What do the windows look like? Is it
Mhm.
structurally sound? And we can put together a whole kind of narrative of what we see, what might need to be addressed. So we do that quite a bit as well, and that will help someone decide whether or not they want to, purchase this building or rent in this
Mhm.
building. Another thing we do are tenant improvement quick test fits. If you're a client and you're looking at maybe 4 different office sites, and this is
Mhm.
just completely interiors,
Right.
and you want to know if your program can fit in this site, or how you want it arranged, will this work well for you? We can do that really quickly, um, where you get a sense of, will this work? Is this like full blown design drawings with all of that? No, this would be preliminary just to make sure that this is a space that you could work in. And we do that all the time. Another thing we do for people who want to get a project going is we'll put full design packages together to help fundraise for a project.
Hmm.
So we have the capability in our designers to put together really beautiful packages that have renderings. We even do fly-throughs. But a lot of time clients, they've got a vision, they want to do this project, but there's a period of time where they have to get other investors,
Mhm.
other donors interested in the
Mhm.
project. So we are happy to help with that. Um, so in general, those are kind of the very preliminary things that we can do to help a potential client.
I want to flip back for a second to the facilities assessment because a lot of companies are buying buildings right now for various reasons. When somebody wants to do that, what are you guys looking at? Everything in the building? Like, what would that involve, and how long would it take you guys? So let's say you have a client, they've got an inspection period. Usually they're 30, 60 days, sometimes 90 days. How long does it take your organization to get that done?
Really, it just depends on the extent we need to look at and the individual project. But we're looking at a building right now. We've estimated like 40 hours worth of work for that.
Hmm.
We've taken a lot of photographs. We're inspecting the roof. Now, the MEP engineering group is doing that separately, but we can bring them onto our team.
Hmm.
But yeah, for that one, we were looking at about a week.
Okay. I think you just kind of hit on an important point of the book. When you're doing an acquisition to purchase or build, in my experience, it's much more of a team sport than a lease. Not to say there's not people involved in the lease, because there are, but purchasing is way bigger team than a lease team would be.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
So why don't you share with us who would hire an architect?
Well, a lot of different people have a need for an architect. I mean, we get referrals from all different sources.
Hmm.
So corporate clients, the direct owners, facility directors. We do a lot of healthcare work, so they usually have an in-house facilities department. They would
Hmm.
hire us. Developers, we do a lot of work with different developers, like we said, and helping them out decide whether they want the site or whatnot. Homeowners, uh, we've been known to do like single family residential as well over the years.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, We do mostly multifamily, but
Got it.
occasionally we'll do a single family home as well, and those are
Mhm.
fun to do for sure. Um, Also, we have good relationships and we partner a lot with design build contractors, where we might be under their umbrella to do a project, and it's very collaborative, team oriented.
Mhm.
So we work with a lot of contractors in that way. And then occasionally economic developers might hire us to help, initially with maybe some renderings or ideas or packages to try to incentivize a site.
So when you're getting started, what kind of pitfalls might you run into starting with a new project?
I think some of the pitfalls come, when we were talking a little bit earlier about like that due diligence period, when people kind of rush into a project and they don't fully understand, what the market entails. Um, I mean, have you looked at it? Is this something you just want to do because, or have you done the actual market research? So I think that's when that can happen, is where people don't really understand their budgets, understand the market, and they're just going full force ahead, and then decide after the fact, like, oh my goodness, um, not a clear understanding of budget, and then they want to like redo everything or pull back or pause. So that
Mhm.
can happen.
Mhm.
So it's just kind of doing the necessary steps up front, will really make a big difference, I think, in the long run of your project.
What about you guys do the research on the zoning for the building?
Yeah, we do. We'll do a whole zoning analysis, um, site analysis, uh, parking requirements on the site. That's one of the first things we'll do when we're looking at a site and building, and just making sure there's none of those pitfalls or those crazy things you didn't know about, you know. And also getting with our geotech team and the civil team, because sometimes things happen, where you didn't realize there's not the infrastructure connections that you needed on the site, and that can really set a project back.
Mhm.
Um, so understanding what connections are there, what connections would need to be there, also grading the site.
Mhm.
Um, there might be a lot more work involved than an owner might realize, and that has some cost implications. So getting
Mhm.
a good handle on those things up front are huge.
What are some keys to a successful project?
Honestly, uh, it's kind of cliche, but everybody talks about this, but it's so true. Communication and collaboration. Our process is a very collaborative one.
Mhm.
We like to bring all the stakeholders, around the table,
Mhm.
and have, just good dialogue. And I think some of the pitfalls happen when you don't bring the team together enough and review things enough. And for us, it's important to bring options to the table based on our experience, but with the owner and the stakeholders, okay, here's some really good options. What do you think? Instead of just designing in a box. And really trying to understand the psychology of our clients. Like, what is the vision they're going after? We're not architects. We're not, if you will, like it's not like Frank Gehry, where you hire him because he has a certain design. We are more like, we want to find out really what you're after and try to
Mhm.
get into your brain and produce the best project for you. So that's a very collaborative process. It's a fun
Mhm.
process. We've got a great team of people that love to work around a table with others, and so that's kind of, I think, makes for the best projects.
Do you have a success story that you'd like to share with us on a project you guys might have worked on in the last year or so?
Well, the last year has been a little crazy.
Okay, let's go behind. Let's go back with normal before COVID.
Um, we've had a lot of good projects. One of the most fun and collaborative projects we did a headquarters for Agro Liquid in St. John's, and they're a wonderful family. They're a fertilizer company, Agro Liquid Fertilizers in St. John's, and they're a great family. And we designed their headquarters. They came from a very small, you know, business office, and they decided to kind of build their dream headquarters. And they made it into a community center, and it was LEED Gold. They had 4
Wow.
hotel rooms in there. They had conference centers, because in that area, there's not a lot around there to service the community. They
Mhm.
also had like a museum section to bring kids in to learn about agriculture. We did like a green roof. We had a sound studio. So it was a very mixed use project, and the client was wonderful. We worked design build with Wieland, and we had a year to build this project, design and build. So the timeline and
That's
budget
pretty
was
short.
crucial. Yeah. But so it was one of those things where it was necessary for everyone to be around the table making
Mhm.
decisions, and we did. We were able to complete the project. They're very happy with it. It's a beautiful project, and it got all the LEED certifications that we were going after.
So can you define a couple things for us? How about the green roof? Why don't you explain what that means?
Well, they put a vegetative roof on part of their building, and that was one of the things that helps the requirement. But when it rains, it absorbs a lot of the water, and it also just helps insulate the building. But it's a nice natural way to do that, and it looks very nice. So, when people can walk out there, they can enjoy the views of the roof versus having to just see all these mechanical units. They see something
Mhm.
nice looking out there. And yeah, it ended up being a great design feature.
And talk about leads, because I'm not sure that the audience would know what leads is.
So, LEED certification is a process that some owners decide to go through. It's basically designing to sustainability, and you have to meet requirements in every category. And based on how many requirements you meet, and it's pretty complicated, and it goes into all facets of design and architecture and mechanical and electrical engineering, and just how you design the building, like with geothermal, and the lighting would be very much like LED lighting, and
Mhm.
but you have to look at each parameter, and based on how much you incorporate into your design, you get a ranking. So gold is pretty high, platinum is very high. You can get also just LEED certified. Honestly, a lot of clients design towards LEED but don't want to go through the whole certification process because it's very costly to maintain that every
Uh-huh.
year. The good thing about LEED, a lot of people are designing towards those standards anyway now. And a lot of the building codes have been adopted where people are designing towards those same standards. So, basically when we're looking at design, we always try to design for best practices, which is always keeping sustainability at the forefront of our minds.
Great, that was very helpful. I appreciate your time. Listen,
Yeah,
if someone would like to reach out to you, to your organization, how would they do that to hire you?
definitely give me a call. Feel free to go on our website, www.hobbs-black.com. Again, my name is Betsy Wagner. I'm the Director of Business Development here. I would love to talk to you. If you have any architectural needs, feel free to, reach out to me. My email's right on there. I will give my cell phone out. I've got it on the website too, 734-395-3636.
Thank you. I appreciate your
Yeah,
time.
thank you so much. I really appreciate it.